everyone. My name is Kaylee, and in my audience today I have Fran, Dan, William, Jay, and Frank. Today I'm going to persuade them on why they should vaccinate their children. When I was born and throughout my entire life, I've always been up to date on my vaccinations. Vaccines prepare the body to fight diseases without exposure of the disease symptoms. According to the CDC, giving your newborn all the recommended vaccines by age 2 is the best way to protect him or her from 14 serious childhood diseases. Some of these include hepatitis B, polio, and diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, or commonly known as DTaP. Vaccinating your child is a powerful defense in protecting your child, and it is also safe and effective. The loss of a child due to a manageable illness is heartbreaking. When your child is born, they can't make the decisions to protect themselves, so you as the parent have to. Can you imagine not giving your child a specific vaccination and then they end up sick with that awful disease? How would you handle that situation? These are things parents need to consider when they choose not to vaccinate. As an example, a girl that I personally know is about to give birth to her first child. She is requiring everyone to have the flu and DTaP vaccine before seeing her son. The reason behind this is because A, her doctor said to, and B, because it's the only immunity her son will have is from her until he's about 2 months old when he gets his first booster shot. He will also be born in the middle of RSV and flu season, and newborns are at a much higher risk of catching both of these. Although she is requiring everyone to have both vaccines, her stepmother cannot have them due to an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome. This is a rare disorder in which your body's immune system attacks your nerves. Most people with this condition must be hospitalized to receive treatment. Her stepmother said that she would get the vaccines if she could, but her doctor won't allow her to. Unlike her stepmother, another family member refuses to get the vaccines. So guess what? She isn't allowed to see her first grandchild except through windows or pictures. Vaccines are made to protect us and those that we love. My friend's doctor is allowing her stepmother to see the newborn, since this is under a special circumstance, but doesn't recommend the other family member to see him. Ever since Edward Jenner created the smallpox vaccine, immunization has been used to create levels of herd immunity that has allowed the human population not to die. I'm now going to explain how vaccinations protect your child and those around them. One of the biggest reasons to vaccinate your child is because it can save their life. Vaccinating your children is safe and effective, and the United States has the safest vaccine supply. It has been tested extensively before given to children and are only given to children after a long and careful review by scientists, doctors, and healthcare professionals. Vaccines are effective. For instance, polio is one of the most feared diseases, but thanks to vaccines, there are no more reports of it. Another example is from 2014. The number of cases of whooping cough, which is a highly contagious and potentially life-threatening disease, has a vaccine that allows this to be preventable. A most recent example is the measles outbreak in Washington state due to a number of parents not vaccinating their children. The best protection against measles is the MMR vaccine, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella viruses. The MMR vaccine protects against all strains of measles, including the D8 strain found in the Washington state outbreak. The D8 strain is currently spreading in Eastern Europe. One father wrote of his 7-year-old daughter. "Are you feeling all right?" he asked her. "I feel all sleepy," she said. Within an hour she was unconscious, and within 12 hours she was dead. The measles had turned into a terrible thing called measles encephalitis, and there was nothing the doctors could do to save her. That was 24 years ago in 1962, but even now, if a child with measles happens to develop the same deadly reaction from measles as Olivia did, there would still be nothing the doctors could do to help her. On the other hand, there is today something that parents can do to make sure that this sort of tragedy does not happen to the child of their own. They can insist that their child is immunized against measles. He was unable to do that for Olivia in 1962 because in those days a reliable measles vaccine had not been discovered. Today, a good and safe vaccine is available to every family, and all you have to do is ask for your doctor to administer it. It is not generally accepted that measles can be a dangerous illness. Comparatively, what are the risks that your children will run from being immunized? They are almost non-existent. In a city of around 300,000 people, there will be only one child with every 250 years who would develop serious side effects from measles. That is about a 1,000,000 to 1 chance. There would be more chance of your child choking to death on a candy bar than of becoming seriously ill from a measles immunization. As a result of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention beginning a mass measles immunization program by the year 2000, the number of reported cases of measles had decreased to 86 and the number of deaths to 1. So it is distressing to see that this year the measles is on the upswing. As of July, there were 131 measles cases reported to the CDC, the highest number since any comparable period since 1996. Most pediatricians and public health officials believe that that's because fewer parents are bringing their young children to get vaccinated. And why is that? Because since 1998, the idea that measles, mumps, rubella, or MMR vaccine causes autism that has scared them away. This is not just shameful, it's scandalous. The entire phenomenon was spawned by a few studies by one research team with results that nobody else has been able to replicate and publish in the peer-reviewed medical literature. Meanwhile, more than 20 epidemiologic studies have reported no association between the MMR vaccine and autism spectrum disorders, including one published last month. In the scientific community, the controversy over whether the MMR vaccine causes autism essentially ended by 2001. Much to their credit, local and state public health officials have consistently been editorializing in local newspapers throughout the country about the safety of vaccines and their importance of child health. Americans were right to be elated when the measles vaccines became available. The MMR vaccine does not hurt kids. Letting them go without will. Vaccinating your children not only protects the child, but also those around you and those in future generations. An article from the CDC states that getting your child vaccinated helps protect others in your community, like your neighbor who may have cancer and can't get certain vaccines, or your best friend's baby who is too young to be fully immunized. Not vaccinating your child not only puts them at a high risk for disease, but can limit their ability to engage in activities within their age range. A few of the biggest things unvaccinated children won't be able to do is attend school. They won't be able to participate in sports, and they won't be able to attend organized camps with other children, and it also affects their social norms. One could assume their inability to socialize with others within their age group could stunt their emotional growth. Those who can and do get vaccinated helps prevent the spread of disease and also keeps them safe. Vaccines have reduced and or killed diseases from older generations, which allows future generations not to become sick. Parents in the future may be able to trust that some diseases of today will no longer be around to harm their children in the future. The advantages of vaccinating your child are both personal and societal. The tragic loss of one's child can be damaging, but the main goal of reaching herd immunity for disease is something that benefits everyone. As previously stated, the CDC recommends giving your child all vaccines by age 2 to protect them from 14 harmful diseases. Vaccinating your child also allows those around you to refrain from becoming sick.